Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and we're back with another week of Take My Money, where we're looking at some current crowdfunding campaigns going on related to board games.
Yes,
And
yes.
yeah, this week is an interesting week. It's got a mix of a little bit of GameFi, a little bit of Kickstarter, and then obviously something different. I can't even
Yes.
remember what it's called now.
What is it? Backer Kit.
Backer
You
Kit.
got a little peek of what it was there. Yes.
Yes. So stay tuned for that because I've got some words about that one. But
Oh boy.
yeah, let us know in the comments below what you're currently backing. I actually thought there'd be one on here this week that actually doesn't end for a little bit yet, so I think it'll
Yep.
be on next
Some
week,
time to go.
which is one that I did back. So you have
Ooh.
to come back next week for that
Come in
one.
next week.
But we got some good ones today, I think.
Again,
So
there's something that I'm really excited about this week, I will say.
oh boy,
If we
I'm
don't back
interested to
at
see which
least
ones.
if we don't back at least one this week, from this week, I'll be surprised.
Interesting.
I
Well,
think
I
you're
got to see which
surprised
ones
that
they
I
are.
even
I
said
didn't.
that.
I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know. If this is really a pepper week, but I found some of them interesting. But I have a feeling we both did not necessarily find this first one interesting
Yeah. I
or
mean,
as interesting.
it's obviously doing very well, but
Yeah.
this just immediately fall. If you've watched any of our other videos, there's usually at least one or two giant campaign games, and
Hmm.
I have a hard time just from looking at a campaign page telling like what really makes one unique compared to the others. So we have
Hmm.
not really backed any of those, and that kind of puts us off because there are so many of them, and this looks
Hmm.
like another one, and they just put it up there as one of the biggest campaign games ever releasing, and that's a bit intimidating, but it is doing very well. Over
Yeah.
$1 million, 6,700 backers, and still 7 days to go.
Yeah. That's what really shocks me. I only saw this one because the Dice Tower had looked at it, and I think this was Joey's pick of the week. But yeah, I I don't know if it was even on Board Game Geek, so that makes it even more shocking that it's not on their front page. I'm assuming that kind of helps with some of the traffic that ends up getting to these pages. So yeah, that's a lot of backers for something that's 100 plus hours of
160
gameplay, and
hours. Wow.
yeah, so uh, yeah, when there's so many out there, we see a couple a week, and yeah, this is just kind of like the other ones where it's got, and these might actually, from what they look like, I'm really liking the look of these miniatures. I think I say
Yeah.
that about almost all of these, but
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
kind of have like, I don't know, at least from what they were showing. I'm not sure, in real life if I actually saw them if they would look that much different, but there was something about them that just looked like it was kind of a little bit different than other ones, but in a really good way to
Yeah.
me. But yeah, so this is another one where the miniatures look good, but um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Speaking
it sounded
of,
like it was kind of, I don't know, I couldn't really. It's kind of an expansion to, or it's
yeah,
an expansion to
I think
another game,
there's,
sort of.
thought I saw some quote talking about a cooperative version, which I think this is. So I
Okay.
think there might have been an original game that was competitive, and then maybe a cooperative expansion, and this might be kind of a redo of that. I'm not exactly sure the
Yeah,
history of this line of games, but
yeah, there was a lot
this,
going on this page,
yeah,
and I wasn't really 100% sure at the end of it, kind of how what was
yeah.
exactly
You can
going
see by
on,
the
and
slider bar on the side of the screen if that does show up. We're not even taking a bite out of this,
right,
barely.
yeah,
But yeah, just a ton of stuff. Like yeah, so if you get like miniatures, I'm not gonna do fully zoomed in here, but if you zoom out in the miniature version of the game, you will be getting all
several miniatures,
these.
just
Um,
a couple, handful.
but yeah, they do look really cool miniatures.
Hmm.
Just a ton of detail. Each one of these projects seem to have amazing miniatures. Not each one this week, but every one of these big campaign games.
Hmm.
So if you love that, and they even have an option to get pre-painted miniatures. Not all of them, but some of the bigger ones. And I'm guessing the best, coolest ones. You
Hmm.
can have an option to have those painted, which we don't paint that often, but the ones that we
Right.
have seen painted, like Tapestry, comes with the pre-colored, pre-painted miniatures for those landmarks, and those are phenomenal. So to have
Mhm.
that already done, if I was going in on this game, I would definitely consider it.
Mhm. Yeah, and I feel like so it looks like a lot of these miniatures could be kind of used in like a D&D role-playing game kind of setting. Even if you if you didn't end up using it for this game, they look like they would fit right into that. So I mean, I think if you like that kind of style of game, that I mean, this might appeal to you a little bit more. But yeah, this I
Massive, two huge, two full
yeah.
Calyx cubes will take up if you get
Oh boy.
everything with those storage solutions. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
you
a
have to
bit much
go.
for me.
So yeah, you can get cosmetic all in, which is pre-painted, everything I believe,
A little bit of
which is going
money.
to be $839. A bit much to get into it for sure, since we don't know anything about this game. This
Hmm.
is not one of the ones that I was thinking we would back.
Mm-mm.
Spoiler alert. I do like this. It has a nice breakdown. I'm still very confused because there's so much here. But
Yeah.
it breaks down kind of the new items, old items, and painted items, and what they're included in, as well as
No.
some
Yep.
included but not featured in a box for these blue check marks. I thought that was really nice. I love whenever there's some sort of chart that can break down the
Hmm.
contents of these bigger games when it can get quite confusing.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it looks like they have kind of several options of what you can, or quite a few options actually, of what you can kind of buy and the add-ons you can get and stuff. And yeah, a lot of it does look pretty good, but I just even at a minimum, I think it was looking like I think if you got the standy version after shipping, it was still getting up near $200 almost, and it
That
just
was 129 just for that, not including shipping. An
mhm.
estimated delivery is February 2024. And I'm not sure. I mean, they have
I don't know if I believe
released
that, but
a game, I believe, like this before in this line.
mhm.
So, but that's still very soon for a massive game. There is
A massive
so
game,
much
and
here.
they already have almost 7,000 backers. By the end, they could maybe have 8 or 9,000. That
Yeah,
that seems like a lot of stuff to do really quickly. So unless they have almost everything
really
finalized
curious.
and they're
Want to buy
just
this
getting
one
ready to
miniature.
press the button, that one
Yeah.
is a very cool miniature. Yeah, I find it hard to believe that it'll be done that quickly, just based on past
Yeah.
ones. But hey, if they can do it, that would be pretty awesome, actually. So.
Yeah, for sure. And then we finally get the gameplay here. And it says level up your
Which
team and then upgrade the town and the different buildings. This makes me think kind of, I think Kingdom
Frosted.
Death Monster kind of does a little bit of that where you have a battle out on the map, which I assume is how this works. You go in battle. Didn't really get much of gameplay from this page,
Hmm.
but there's a lot to look at, and I didn't look into every little part. But then you kind of have an in between session. It seems like possibly with that town, which looks cool enough, but I think
Hmm.
there's definitely a little more. So this is 700 plus pages
700
of
pages.
cinematic plot. So I think this is a lot more story in
Hmm.
this than game.
Yeah.
Which, if you're
Yeah.
looking for that, you're getting a lot here.
Yeah. I think this one's definitely like a lifestyle game. This is gonna be the only thing you're playing for a while,
Yeah, not
I
not
think.
quite ready to dedicate my entire life to this game.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it looks interesting,
Lots of
but
content.
yeah, it's not. I don't think that this one's quite for us. It looks
No,
very
not
intimidating.
quite. This is shipping, I believe. So depending on kind of what you get, it's going to be like 40, $50 if you are in the
Hmm.
US, or possibly more.
Right.
And then on to the next one.
Ooh.
Oh, even bigger game. Even more going on here. Nice, refreshing, relaxing theme of birds, nestlings. So
Yes.
immediately I'm like, okay, so it's just trying to get off the wingspan hype.
Hmm.
But
That's the vibes I was getting right away.
as I looked at it, I was like, oh, this is actually a bit different. It's not trying to kind of stick close to it mechanism-wise. I feel like there's some big differences here.
All right.
I feel
Yeah,
like it's
I felt like there wasn't like there's not any card play or anything, right?
no,
Which is kind of what Wingspan's all driven off of, and yeah, it's not like it's trying to do. It's not like it's trying to be close to that in any way. So yeah, it does feel like a totally different game. That just it might be playing off that Wingspan theme a little bit, I'd say.
yeah, maybe. So it's got 72, almost $73,000 with over 1,000 backers and 9 days to go. So they're doing well. This is
Mhm.
their first created Kickstarter from Tangerine Games. Looks like we'll see if it's good. And this
Our-
is what got me excited here. I was just looking through here. I'm like, oh, what's this Wingspan knockoff? And then I see solo mode, concept and development, Shem Phillips. I'm like, okay, never
oh
mind.
wow.
I can take this seriously.
I I didn't actually see that part, but this was one where he had a quote, right? Because
Yeah.
when I was first looking at projects this week, the first two that I looked at had Jim Phillip quotes. I was like, what is he playing all these games? When does this man have time? He's got to make his own games. Yeah, I didn't even see that he did that. So yeah, it's
and this is where you got
disappointing.
when you saw that the
The
Kingfisher was a playable
Yes.
character.
Yes, because he's something.
Yes, yeah, we rated our favorite bird cards in Wingspan, and Kingfisher's made an appearance on your list.
Mhm.
But yeah, so this one you have a few different regions, and you put a bunch of resources out there. I think you get unique types equal to the players +1. I like it. Explains the rules pretty clearly, kind of how the game plays here on this page. A lot better than the previous one did for me
Yeah.
personally. And then everyone rolls their dice, and they show what region of the board they can be played at. You can also re-roll the dice, I believe, once, from my understanding, and then
Yeah,
you
that's what it
have to
sounds like.
place those dice at those regions, or possibly save them for future rounds. And the priority for picking these, because when you take a stack or a resource, you get the entire stack. It looks like, and the first to place there would get first go, unless someone has placed more than one die there. Then it goes to whoever has placed the most amount of dice. So you'll kind of create a little stack of your dice, kind of shown here. So even though blue
Mhm.
placed there first, usually would get to go there first. Green placed more than them, so they would get to choose.
Mhm.
And as you take those, you can fill, I believe there's some objectives, or else feed your nest with those if they are from the region. So green player is taken from the green here, so they can play them onto their own personal nest since that matches their region. Otherwise, they can kind of put them towards goals or different things like that. And also, you kind of want to collect different types of resources to, I guess, get a little bit, collect them all, catch them all.
Okay, man.
I thought that was pretty straightforward, probably a little
Mhm.
lighter than Wingspan.
Mhm.
And as I was going, I'm like, oh, is there much here? But then as I saw this, and this can give additional bonuses, and I think you store points throughout the game at the end of each round for how many you have filled here. And those award bonuses, I thought that there was enough game here for me to um, possibly pick this one up at some point. Plus,
Mhm.
it's very beautiful. I love the artwork in this one.
Mhm. Yeah, it's a really good looking game, but yeah, that was the one thing that I wasn't sure of is that it seemed like it could still be maybe a little bit lighter than I prefer, but yeah, it looked like it had still, it kind of felt at first like one of those games that may just be too light,
Oh
might just
yeah,
float away light, but then yeah, as they were going through it does seem like yeah, there's a little bit more game there, but.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I would say then getting into kind of some of the pledge values.
So
Um,
standard edition with a bunch of cardboard gonna be $39, and to get the deluxe, these miniatures, dual layered boards, circular based bags so they can stand up. Which I'm like, it's interesting. I just feel like why wouldn't you make maybe the original bags of that? I doubt it since it makes a point of it here.
all
That just
right.
feels weird to me, and with a lot of these where they have multiple different options for things. And I'm like, why not just make one type? Just make one type. It's less complicated. But
Right.
yeah, storage solution looks really nice as well. And then a bunch of wooden tokens, also wooden tokens, screen printed, I assume screen printed, or some kind of printing of all
Sticker,
the
maybe.
resources, all the little wedge tokens, the scoring tokens. Probably, but it's almost $80. So, and for a
That's
smaller, lighter game, that's probably just a little too much for me because that is the version I would really want to get of this game.
yeah, that's where it kind of lost me was, when I first saw 39, I'm like, okay, so maybe it'll be, you know, at first I didn't realize there were multiple, because that was kind of the first thing I looked at. And yeah, then I saw 79. I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit much.
Yeah.
Especially once I learned kind of how it played, because I was like, oh, is there enough in there to warrant, spending $80 plus shipping? I don't remember what shipping was on this one, but yeah, then you're getting up into $90, and I was like, is there enough there in the deluxe version that it's
So $80, or if you do want those pretty cool
no
dice
deluxe
trays
trade?
with the
Yeah.
birds, that'd be $100. It just doesn't feel like $100 game. That's just kind of like an instinct reaction from me.
Hmm.
I don't know what goes into that in my mind, but it doesn't feel like $100 game to me.
Right. Yeah,
Uh,
that's kind of how I was feeling too. Like the 39, I was like, okay, and then I figured
shipping is
shipping
going to
would get
be
you near
13.50.
50.
Not the worst shipping. It's pretty
Hmm.
decent price in there, but it
I agree.
still does add up. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
probably not going to get this one, but I do really want to play this one at some point.
Yeah, I feel like this was one that maybe after the fact, if it does get hit retail or miniature market or something, and it's maybe a little cheaper, might get it then, pick it up later. But yeah, and see kind of what people are saying about it as they get their copies of it when it finally
Yeah,
comes
in the video, it showed kind of wooden dice, and that they would be acrylic actually. And I was like, I actually like the look of the wooden dice in the video.
up. Hmm.
Then I saw that if they hit this, they're going to get these exclusive dice, which I think are very, very cool. That's just another little comment of mine.
Oh boy, they might hook him into that $100 pledge
Have
anyway.
they hit it? Oh, they have hit it. 72,000. They should have hit that then. And the next one, just nice smaller games after that huge opening. And the
Hmm.
last Kickstarter that we have today is Ovation, a classical music game. Another
Yes.
simple one. As I started watching how it's played, I was like, this is very, very basic. And then it built up a little more near the end. It's
Hmm.
got $24,409, 558 backers, also 9 days to go.
All right.
This one, look, it's a unique theme. It
It is.
reminded me of, was it Shakespeare?
Oh,
Where he
yep.
was putting on shows. We played that in Vegas with a super fan of the game and had a fun time with that one. I really enjoyed the theme. And
Hmm.
this one looks to have that theme as well. This is also another one with a Shem Phillips quote here. So, I mean, that shouldn't mean so much, but he has designed so many solid games that
Right.
if that got
This
me so much more interested in this game.
And I didn't see that one before, but now that makes more sense as to why he would have made a comment about that one. This one, I figured it was because this is from I think it's from New Zealand, so
Oh, yeah.
which I believe is where he's from as well. So that probably makes sense. Probably helping out a fellow, what is it, Kiwi? Is that what they're called? I don't know. What are they? now I
Offensive if
now I
you
just
say.
offended someone probably. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm guessing that's probably why he's probably had the chance to play this one. So it sounded
Yeah,
like he enjoyed this one as well. So
yeah. And this, I like the looks of these boards, and this kind of keyboard here is just a tracker of resources, how many you have.
mhm.
And initially, I was like, oh, it's just a tracker. But I do really like that they have that extra detail, thematic tie-in, just for something as simple as a tracker of resources. I thought that was a
Mhm.
nice detail, and I think that's probably throughout the game as well, just trying to implement any artistic tie or anything that they can to the theme.
Mhm.
But yeah, so kind of four actions that you can take throughout the game. Either it's first action, I believe, bumps your resources. Second action can add cards to the different things, making the actions better and bonuses you can do. The third action can get you people to also add above here, or possibly get end game scoring conditions for yourself. And the third one is to put on shows, which can cost a lot of resources, but get you points as well as additional music tokens, which are what you spend to trigger these additional actions when you take them. So it kind of reminded me of Gizmos I've played a couple times on Board Game Arena, and that one kind of has just a few core actions you can do, but then as you go, you kind of add additional bonuses to those actions. And I really love that mechanism because then you can go and trigger other types of actions as well and get awesome monster turns right here, right in the quote. And I think that's so satisfying, and it looks like this one's going to have that too.
Yeah, I agree. Because at first just like you, I thought it looked like it might be too simple, but then, yeah, from the cover I wasn't sure. I was like, oh god, this game could really be anything. And then I saw Shem Phillips, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. I gotta give this thing a closer look. And then I like how the chaining can go, and you can go from action to action potentially, and your actions are getting stronger throughout the game. I always like those types of engine buildy, feeling games. And this is an interesting theme. So I'm actually surprised it's not doing a little bit better.
Yeah, it seems like it would.
Yeah, I feel like this and
4,000. Yeah.
This one is what Kickstarter is all about. This is what
really not the first one that made $1 million. Just $200 campaign game.
Not quite. But I think this one's kind of what it should be for. It's kind of. I guess I didn't actually look into it, but I'm assuming probably the person that created this is maybe into music and stuff a little bit. Would be my guess, and that performance type thing would be my guess. So then they're probably combining their love of the board game hobby with that and making a game out of it. Because there's not that many, surprisingly.
Yeah, for sure. $46 US. Otherwise, you can get multiple copies, or get yourself in the game, which there are only 10 options of those. And I did see that Garfield Games, Mr. Shem, was one of those. So expect to see his face show up in the game.
Oh boy! Now we gotta get this thing.
But yeah, it's just one base pledge, and it looked like it had a lot of really nice wooden components, which I always love when they can have those in the base game. Shipping's going to be $18 if you're in the US, more for elsewhere. Obviously, New Zealand's going to be a little cheaper for once. So that's great for them. But yeah, and this looks to be December 2023, which I will just blindly trust them because Shem has praised it, so he must know that they will be able to ship it because Shem always ships on time.
That's true. He always does. So if he's helped him out at all, which I have no idea if that is the case, I'm assuming he probably would. He seems like a good guy, so I think if they had questions, he'd probably help. So
they'll be like, we think we know what we're doing better than you, Shem. We're fine.
Although to be fair, Shem it actually just got done because the payment just went through onto my card. I think the chip rights of the North Sea reprint, that's not shipping until February. So they're either in a different stage of the process or Shem's building in a couple months.
That's true.
So we'll see if this one shows up in February. See if Shem knows better. Although I wouldn't say they're exactly comparable.
And then Coloma, New Prospects, an expansion and reprint. And oh boy, this just feels like one of the most Zach games I could ever think of. I feel like you like the Western theme. We don't have that many. Obviously, the Miko artwork. You're a huge fan of it.
It's all coming together.
It's actually not one that stands out as the Miko artwork, just from the cover for me.
No,
like
it doesn't.
There was a while that I didn't know it was him. And I'm like, wait, that's the Miko. It's obviously the Miko. But for some reason it just went past me.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
yeah,
he does people pretty similarly every time.
yeah,
But then like I feel like there's some where his people for some reason just look slightly off of
yeah.
what I normally expect from his people, and I always wonder, is that someone else or is that
Is it an
him?
imitator?
Like he's got very distinct people,
Yeah,
so I feel like it has to always be him. But I'm always like, yeah, it just seems a little bit off. But because I think that was the case in this game, if I remember it. Like you could tell that it's definitely close, but it just feels a little bit different than kind of. I guess when I think of the Miko, mainly I'm thinking of going back to Shem Phillips, all the Garfield games,
yeah.
kind of those
This is
people.
just the week of Garfield, and there's not even a Garfield game in this week.
Right. So
Yeah, $186,000 and almost 2,000 backers. That's pretty good because I don't hear all that much about this game. From the
yeah.
reviews I do see, it's very positive, but
Mhm.
I don't hear it in a bunch of people's top lists
Yeah, I
very
don't know if it
often.
was just hard. It's hard to get. Maybe I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
And then maybe it's just not quite their top game. And because yeah, I think we've mainly watched the Dice Tower ones. I guess was it on Mike's? I feel like if it was on
that's right.
anyone's of the Dice Tower, it'd be maybe
Mike's
Mike.
number 3 of 2019 and Mike's number 25 of all time here. So Mike's got 2 entries here, which so
Okay,
okay.
that
Instead
makes
of
sense.
4 people loving it here, it's actually just 3. Got to take that into account. But yeah, I've been looking at this one and I've been trying to find a deluxe version of this because there's some gold nuggets that really look cool. And I was like, oh, if I get this for Zach, I'm gonna want those gold nuggets. Something for me too. Uh,
Some reason for me to play this. Hold those gold nuggets in my hand because the ones from Western Legends just don't cut it.
no. But yeah, but it has been decently hard to find, and kind of scrolling over some expansion content. I don't know the base game yet, so I don't know much to say about the expansion content. But that waterfall thing fits perfectly with the artwork. I don't know if they redid the artwork here or if that was always planned, but I'm like, if that matches perfectly, because there's a few games where expansions add things and maybe the color's a little off or just don't line up. If that
Mhm.
can line up perfectly, get get my approval.
Yes, that's
But yeah,
obviously they're going to show it lining up perfectly.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
probably not going to show it with slightly off artwork, but we'll find out if the Miko. Well, I don't know if it's the Miko. It might be just what they're able
Don't
to use
fail
printing.
us, Miko. Got some bust
He's like,
tokens.
I use the same colors. I don't know what they did with it. The bearded
uh,
legend himself.
I like that this shows pretty much everything that's in there. Got that. Even just like this one additional outlaw kind of shows him just joining the rest that were already in the game. Like you didn't have to do that. Like, oh, it adds one more of these things, but it did,
Right.
and I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny.
And then all the components of this base game, which are a lot. It's a big game, beautiful
Mhm.
game. I really love that cover. Um, and deluxe, you gotta get the deluxe. Look, you get a metal sheriff badge, poker chips, gold nuggets, bunch of custom additional, I believe these are kind of heroes or whatever, pioneers, and their meeples screen printed. I think the board looks great there with all these wagons, little pretty simple little TP things, but
Mhm.
pretty cool. I
Yeah,
guess have you looked into the gameplay of Coloma much?
I have not. This is one that I need to look into more. But yeah, it is definitely a Zach game every time. Um, I've kind of seen it brought up or see it for some reason. I'm like, oh boy, do I get it? Do I get it? Because it's even got a magnetic wheel, and that's
Yes.
everyone always says about it. And yeah, on the Dice Tower, and then again, Camille's like, that's all I ever hear about it is the nice wheel. Doesn't have anything else. Is there actually any gameplay to it, or is everyone just fascinated by the spinning wheel? Um,
They could be. They could be. But yeah, anything with a magnetic wheel is cool. I
mhm,
forget exact. I've watched a playthrough or how to play before, but I don't know. Anything with that where things are changing through the rounds or whatever, I always find that fascinating. Is
mhm.
this worker placement? I forget. I feel
That's
like
what
it's
I
got
wasn't
to
sure
be.
because I feel like there's something with the kind of action selection. Maybe it's more action selection
Oh
than worker
yeah,
placement. I can't really. I don't remember exactly, but I thought you were picking like one of the actions, and then there's that wheel in the center of the board, and now they're what is it? They're adding that Barker thing, and then it kind of will cut off one action or make it weaker or something. I wasn't
Yeah.
100% sure on how, but yeah, this one's one I'm definitely interested in, even not even knowing how it's played, just because um, Mike has good taste in games. He knows what's up.
Mike and Shem, either of them can recommend something. We're interested. But yeah, the new expansion, which obviously we wouldn't just get the new expansion.
Right.
$29 if you want just the original but deluxe. $79, which is pretty good. But I mean, like if we're already going in, may as well get
Get
the
it all.
expansion in there. $108. And I actually looked at this Motherlode Pledge, Fistful of Meeples, and I was like, what is that? I've heard of it. So I watched Sam Healy's How to Play and Review. I was like, that's actually really cool. It's kind of like Five Tribes. It's a little simpler, but it's like a bunch of actions around the thing. I think they kind of have.
You're telling me Five Tribes.
Here. It's got all these different types of meeples, and you do Mancala, moving
Pepper,
around
you
there.
don't tempt me with
And
Five Tribes. If
wherever they
stop.
end, they do a specific action depending on that color meeple. I'm like, this is Five Tribes, but a little smaller, a little simpler, and that is the small game with art by the Miko that you've been looking for. It's got like a 2 weight on BGG.
Oh
And I was
boy.
like, oh, I
now I
probably
really have to look at this.
if we back it, I'm like, I initially thought, you don't need that little game, but now we would need.
Now he
it.
wants that game more than he wants.
And
he doesn't even want to get this for me. He
honestly,
wants to get a fistful of meeples for himself.
Honestly, yes.
Wow.
And need the expansion too, a few meeples more. So yeah, this is one.
They did a thing for that one showing one more outlaw meeple being added. And said 3 new meeples. Few meeples more.
But this is one that I'm very interested in, have been in for a long time, and I think we might have to do it. Also, I mean, some cards with art by the Miko. We love his art. Deck of cards might be worth the $9. Might go absolutely all in on this.
Oh boy. What was the shipping on this one?
The shipping was, where's the shipping? Let's see. So the shipping is average 15 bucks. Not too bad.
No, not really.
When was it going to ship? That's what.
I think it was. Did it say May 24 or March 24? I think
May 24. So a ways. And again, Miko is tied to Garfield. Garfield always delivers on time. So this will ship on time.
It's gotta.
You have my word.
Hopefully.
Yes.
But yeah, that one's exciting.
On to the second and last Game Found project. I don't know if I mentioned it, but that was a Game Found project. This one, Scarface, 1920, Bloody Business. Another reprint and expansion game. And when I was watching this video, I was like, oh, there's so much going on. And I think that was covering pretty much only the new mechanics introduced in the expansion. I was like, wait, so there's a whole nother base game? They were talking about all these different things, politics and backing people and corruption and cops and markets. And I'm like, that's just the expansion board? God. And this is another $1 million
big one.
freaking project. Nearly
I'm surprised that
backers.
I'm surprised that this one's doing this well. I guess I don't know. I just feel like I've probably heard of the game, but I've never heard of anyone saying, "Oh, this is an amazing game. That needs needs an expansion, needs a refresh." I don't know if I've ever heard anyone talk about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I've maybe heard it once, and I watched the review, or I skipped to the end of the Dice Tower review with the ratings, and I think it was 2 people, and they gave it 8s each, so pretty good, solid, and sounded like they like the kind of theme of the game. And we don't have any kind of gangster themed games that I can think of. I guess we have that one market one with the fish.
Tsukiji,
Tsukiji, which kind of has some Yakuza, whatever gang members in there, but that's about all that we have for
That's
that.
true.
So I'd be interested in that theme. It's kind of cool, kind of fun. Can do voices with it. Not that I'm good at that, and I'm not going to attempt them now.
Right.
But it is a unique theme.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't know. Surprisingly, it's like one of those themes that just doesn't draw me too much. But yeah, I thought as I was going through, I thought everything looked really good, and when on the video, all those things sounded cool. So it's like I feel like I'd want to play this game, but I definitely want to try before I buy. I feel like just because
yeah,
the theme by itself doesn't personally for me do anything,
not even
but
with a poisoning card taking out the competition.
not even with that. But no, yeah, it looks like a lot of text on some of those cards, but hopefully
Oh, they
that
tried to
doesn't.
save that man before he tripped and fell off of the roof.
Whoopsie daisy. But yeah, so I think a lot of this looks really, really good,
Yeah.
really cool. I just I wasn't, I guess from the beginning, knowing kind of the theme, I wasn't personally like pulled into wanting one. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it can probably be done pretty well.
Depending on how it's handled, I think that is. I'm not inherently drawn toward that theme, and I think it could get kind of dark and not so fun, but I feel like this is pretty playful with
Mhm.
it. The art style is really cool. It kind of keeps the cool look, but it's also cartoonish and fun
Right.
and really
Mhm.
well done. I really love the art. The art
Yeah.
here, the Undertaker. Oh my god,
Oh my gosh.
changes his mind. He is very interested.
Now
But
you
yeah,
got me.
got some inserts here, and that was just all the expansion stuff. And sounds like they say it will never go to retail. The expansions will never go to retail. I'm like, maybe. I don't know if they're to be taken seriously or not. I know they're almost always reprints or whatever. What is it? Vassal's Law that a good game always comes back. It's a little
I
different
think so.
thing than this, but
All
uh,
right.
and I thought it looked like really nice components. So this is just for a certain faction. They have all their miniatures, and they kind of deal
Mhm.
in liquor, I assume, transporting, selling. So you have little miniatures of that. Just everything looked so deluxe. With boards, they look dual layered. Awesome resources, awesome miniatures. The game board, if we ever see it, didn't look the most interesting to me. More miniatures, more awesome stuff. And then there's base game. So the reprint itself is going to be 115 euros, which is a bit much. And like I
Yeah.
said, there's other things that I'd like to back here, like that Coloma, to where it's like makes me less likely to back this, even though it
Mhm.
did look like it had a lot of really cool things.
Yeah. I guess at what level do you think that like so like you said you could get into kind of character or whatever to play this game? Do some of the I feel like some of these bigger games kind of need that where you need to
yeah.
kind of be willing to kind of get into that part of the game to really make it shine. So
Yeah,
I
maybe.
feel like there's a
That's
work
true.
aspect in that, knowing what you're signing up for if you buy a game like
Yeah.
this,
That's
kind of.
that's true because then you can't just take it on mechanics alone. You have to be able to kind of immerse yourself in that to get the most enjoyment out
Mhm.
of it. Yeah, that's true, and it might need a little bit of that. Obviously, I
Right.
don't know the reviews or what they say on it. Possibly. So this pledge has all the new stuff. 89 euros. Expansions will never make it to retail. Again, I don't
They're
know if
really
that's.
saying that, so yeah.
And there's a fast shipping option. If you missed the previous campaign, want that, seize the opportunity. Fast shipping option. Don't know what all that's about. I assume it is quicker shipping. And everything here for 189 euros. So getting up to like 200 bucks. Like I said, it looked like that expansion added a lot of things. And that's most of what I know about the game at this moment.
Mhm.
So then I'd be drawn towards getting that and not willing to put down that much.
All right.
But it does all look really cool. And if you are looking for this theme and possibly a heavier game. It seems like.
Mhm.
I think this looks like about the best that there can be. I haven't heard of any other big games, mobster games that are like very well received. This one looks pretty well received from what I know. Looks
Mhm.
huge, looks very deluxe, awesome
Yeah.
components. So if you're interested, I would definitely take this up, especially if you want those expansions and they possibly won't be going to retail and might be hard to find. I think
Mhm.
it'd be a great time to get it.
Yeah,
And it's
I
very
agree.
confusing options here with all these fast shipping options
Yes.
shuffled within. I'm like, what's even going on here? But
Yes. But yeah, I agree. I think this looks like it probably fits that theme pretty well. So yeah, I think if you're really looking for that type of game, definitely maybe do a little bit more research on this one, see if it's for sure for you. But um, yeah, I'm assuming it's probably a good game.
this may be the first time I've seen an add-on for a smaller board playmat. They're like, if you want it a little smaller, here you go. Usually it's just like, and get the massive board. But you need to
Get
play
this
on the
thing to fill up your
you need to
table. You
play
need a
on the
second table.
floor. This is going December 2024, so a ways off, so a
Yeah.
year and a half. So
Yeah.
hopefully they can do it. Shem is not attached to this in any way that I can find, so there's no guarantee that this will meet that date.
Exactly. So go into it knowing that. I don't
You put them
believe
on.
I don't know if he's involved in this one either, so no guarantees on this. Um, but yeah, we've got the backer kit project here, and I feel like this was going to be backer kit's moment to kind of show what it could do. I think this was its project to kind of really launch
Boys,
itself into
just throwing in a full review of Backer Kid's site here.
the Game Found Kickstarter. I mean, I think it does. It's done some other projects as well, but Gloomhaven Grand Festival. I mean, we're talking one of the most popular board games over the last however many years, and um, all these. I think a new RPG game of the Gloomhaven,
Mhm.
reprints of the original and Frosthaven, and I think you can get pretty much anything Gloomhaven, miniatures for all the games, and there's all this stuff, and it's like, what was it? Frosthaven made like what 9 million something or whatever it was,
Yep.
some tons of millions. It's like, okay, what is this gonna do? Like this is gonna just blow things out of the water. And I I don't know how many. I don't even know if it funded in the first day for $2 million, which is
Yeah.
insane to me. It's
Yeah.
insane. All the different things you could buy here. I guess I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
if it's
is
because
pretty.
it's backer kit or because
Is it
people are done with Gloomhaven. I don't know.
is it just like they have enough of it? They
Right,
like there's
that's
a
just it.
second printing here. Like is that really that interesting to those people who already have the game? I mean, but
Right.
even then, like they had Gloomhaven like second printing or another campaign, and it always does so well. And it blows my mind that people are still who have everything else still getting things, and obviously are still getting. I mean, it has $3.5 million, so it's still succeeding. Still
Mhm.
21,000 backers. Um, but yeah, it is
Yeah.
not like this mind blowing amount like you would think it could be or should be.
Yeah.
Still
I
7 days
if I
left.
would have had yeah, if I had had to guess on this, so I would have thought 10 to 15 million. I don't know. I don't know what it it could just be. I mean, you're probably right. If I owned the original Gloomhaven, I would probably be pretty upset that they were making a second edition or
It
whatever.
sounds
And
like it's not just like a third printing or whatever. It's actually cleaning some things up and introducing a few new things, balance issues.
mhm,
And there's a lot in the campaign. So if I'm like 60% of the way through, so many hours invested, and then they come out with this, they're like, this is kind of a fixed version, better version.
mhm,
And if I was like really a completionist and really into it, I'd be a little upset, probably.
mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is kind of also like a big celebration of Gloomhaven. They have kind of looks like interaction things and dates with different videos and live streams, I assume. I have not been checking in on it. How long has this been going? The whole month?
I
Or
think so. I think it's been quite a while. So I mean, it's probably been at least 2 weeks, I would think. So yeah, I think they just recently announced though the button
yes.
whatever version,
And
wasn't it?
that is my other most excited thing
I
in
will
this
say,
whole week.
I will say, I was not. I mean, to be fair, I've only played Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, so there's a part of me that wants to play Gloomhaven and Frosthaven, but I just don't know that I would ever play through all of it and stuff. But I will say, for what was it, like $15, I was
Yes.
pretty interested in that.
I am
Maybe
extremely
everyone,
interested in this.
maybe everyone is just pledging specifically for that,
It could be.
and
It could be.
they're like, "Why do we need this other stuff if we can just play this?"
Play anywhere, anytime. The same deep strategy of Gloomhaven, but in a fraction of the size. You can play it on an airplane tray table. We've only done that with one game ever. Or I have. You guys may have, but I don't know. I guess I assume this should be available after, because I'd rather just not. I'd rather get it later in retail, miniature market, or something. I
Mhm.
don't know what it's
I
like.
feel like it's got to be available
It's
after.
I mean, it's small. It shouldn't be any issues
It's
with it. So I'll probably
yeah,
wait till then. But
that's what I
I
was thinking.
very set on adding this, or maybe even multiple copies of this. If you're interested as well, why not get two? Um,
So I think it's solo only, right?
yep, solo only.
Yeah.
And
So
I
there
think
is
they
that
also,
to it, but yeah.
yeah, this just looks. I'm really interested in what they do with this and how they're able to. And it's based on, I think, someone just BGG user kind of designed a Gloomholden, I think it's
Yeah.
called, so you can kind of hold it
Mhm.
and play it in the palm of
I'm
your
guessing it's
hand.
that Joel.
Yep, yep. And then
Mhm.
additional with Nikki here, and um, so it's been around a while, and obviously it was enough to get it to actually be made official,
Mhm.
which is
It's pretty
really cool.
crazy.
I love it when anything like that happens. It's such a great story,
Mhm.
um, and I think this could this be my I'm like could this be my go-to, because I have not played Jaws of the Line in a long time, because even though it's smaller and so much easier to play than regular Gloomhaven, it's still a beast, and this could be my Gloomhaven for the rest of my life, that I can play every single day and on the plane whenever I'm on the plane all the time.
That is true. That
It,
is
I'm
100%
really
true.
really excited for that. And I have, I think, just a bunch of RPG. We don't really do that, but
Hmm.
looks like they have a lot. And I actually saw there's
Yeah.
like some combat things, like similar to Gloomhaven. So I'm like, oh, that's a little more game than I was thinking would be in just a role play game. They have
Hmm.
additional scenarios, solo scenario books for um, Frosthaven, Gloomhaven, map books for Frosthaven. So if you really love Jaws of the Lion, it looks like they have that spiral book for Frosthaven if you want that. I forget if that was that originally in the original campaign.
I don't remember.
I
I
know
don't think
people
so.
wanted it, but I didn't think it was.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I did not see one for the original Gloomhaven in all this, but I could have easily missed it, as there is so much here. Oh my
Hmm.
god. And that's just Frosthaven right there.
Yeah, there's
And
a lot of different stuff here, and sure the miniatures are all great and stuff, but yeah, it makes me wonder though. I mean, I guess I didn't see like what people are actually pledging for.
yeah.
But it makes me wonder if there's really not a crossover between fans of Gloomhaven and fans of role-playing games.
Oh, maybe. That's possible.
Possibly.
I can see that.
But I guess I don't know how well that's doing. And I also wonder, it's good that they had the 2 million goal, but I wonder if they were actually banking on more. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. I think so. I mean, I
So
forget
that
how much the
kind of
original
worries me a little
Gloomhaven
bit,
did,
but you
but
know.
this has to be, they've had like 6 or so campaigns, and this has got to be near the bottom currently. Can get more and will get more, but
Mhm.
it's probably a disappointment to them, I would say. But yeah,
Yeah.
here's all your pledge levels. Just want the miniatures for Gloomhaven. That's going to be 130 bucks. Not much there. It's a nice little small add-on.
Yeah, that just it does. It makes me wonder if they just they're making these things Kind of like recently, Jamie, I think made vision-friendly Wingspan cards, and that's a game that sold almost 2 million units, and I think he had sold like 175 things of the cards that people had said they wanted. So I'm like, I wonder if people said they wanted miniatures, or said, "Oh yeah, a role-playing game would be cool," and then actually when it comes down to it, they're like, "Well, it's not $130 cool. I don't know if I want
Yeah,
that." I don't know if that could be it or
I could
not.
see that. I think there's definitely a group that falls into there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, just if you're looking to complete your collection, just go through here.
And
Tuck
look at
box
what you need.
organizers, role playing, card sets,
There's a
deluxe
lot.
boxes, got those shields, all the minis for every single thing. It's about the third time they cycled through all these mini packs. Oh my god! And then a breakdown of the shipping
Of all the shipping,
things. You get the big one, $80. Boom. That's so much. Then some tax and stuff as well, because you got to factor that in.
specifically for
It's
states, and
so,
yeah.
so large. And I like this that it is split into timelines. You have to do it if you have a little button game there. You can't
Hmm.
be holding that off because that's going to be done a lot quicker
Right.
than all the rest. So that would be in, I believe, wave
End
two.
of this year.
So November 2023. So that was another big thing. I'm like, I don't want to wait for that either. So that gets me a little more into actually backing it here just to make sure nothing goes wrong. And hopefully I would be able to secure a copy of that Button and Bugs. Nice
Hmm.
little name. But that's probably all I'd be getting here.
Yeah, I agree. As much as I'm interested in playing this, I just don't see actually getting through that much content. This is kind of the one that we can blame for all these other projects that we were talking about earlier, for all these big $1 million dungeon crawling games. Which, when you think about it that way, like that first one we looked at was at over $1 million. This one's only at 3 million, and this is
This is this is the
based
big
on
one.
one of the most popular games in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
which
I
is
think
insane to me. That I just still can't believe it. I still can't believe it's not doing bad. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
all of
yeah,
these other ones that we looked at would love to have $3 million, but
it's so weird saying it. It's like saying like when a Marvel movie comes out, like, oh, they made $300 million in the first few days. It's like, oh, that's lower than expectations. And this is like, you made $300 million. You made $2 million, $3 million here. And
right.
it's like, but it does still feel low.
Hmm.
Uh, so
Yeah, maybe they
hopefully
try
that,
to do too much too. I don't know if it's just too much at once.
yeah, too much, but also almost not enough for me personally, since that is, like I said, the only thing interesting to me. I would have liked
That
maybe
was the
another.
cheapest thing.
I like the Bug Slayer pledge, or else the buttons and bugs. But that is the actual cheapest thing. But if there was like a Jaws of the Lion for Frosthaven, I probably would have backed that too.
Oh,
Um,
that's true.
so that's about the only other thing, though. I'm proud of myself for not being drawn into the giant base game box of Gloom or Frost. So trying to stick by that and not do that because that is so big, takes up so much space.
It does.
It's gonna be so
It's
hard to
a
get
lot of
into.
time. Yeah. Yeah, just like a lot of these, it's just hundreds of hours of gameplay, and that's not to say, they're probably both great, great games, and there are people that love it, probably people that immediately backed all
Pledge in
these
the next
miniatures and all this stuff.
50 seconds to
But we got to
keep
keep
this
the
train
pledge
going.
train going, baby.
Back it
All
now.
aboard.
Wonder how many people are just waiting for the last second. They're like, I don't want to be. Wait a minute. We need to wait and watch this out.
We've got 40 seconds.
40 seconds.
But yeah,
Our
so
outros always go long, so we'll see.
that's true. But yeah, that's everything inside that Gloomhaven. So if you like Gloomhaven, maybe check it out and see if there's anything there that looks interesting to you. Help these poor people out a little bit. Get them up to 5 million even.
I wonder if they'll hit 5. It's probably going to be close.
Well, I
Maybe.
mean, so what? It says their Ceph Affair has 93,000 followers. I guess I don't know how this bagger kit works. If it like sent out an email to them at the beginning, if it continues reminding them, I'm not 100% sure. But they've only got, you know, 21,000 out of the 93.
The pledge train is derailed.
Oh no!
But yeah, so if they can get all the rest
All
of their
this
followers,
talk we're doing about it,
all
everyone
the
can
rest
feel
of
it.
those followers to back at the highest level, I think they'll be doing all right.
That's true. But yeah, that's still really great. 21,000,
Yeah.
3.48 million. It's great. It just when you know what they've made on other ones, it just doesn't seem as great. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah. But yeah, so it's a good week of games. We somehow avoided, well, sort of avoided the bigger ones. Like you said, you'll probably be getting that Bughaven at some point.
Smallest version of the
Button
biggest
Haven.
one.
Exactly. But yeah, maybe we'll see if we end up getting any of those other ones because yeah, there's some interesting stuff there, especially Coloma.
Ooh, cool.
But those other two as well that Shem had influence upon were
Yes.
pretty good. So or looked good. But
Yeah.
yeah. If you've made it this far, please give us a like and consider subscribing. We definitely appreciate it. Otherwise, like I said, let us know below what you're backing if you're interested in any of these. If you have any comments on Gloomhaven and how well it's doing. But otherwise, we hope to see you next week. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.
Oh my God, the train is back on the tracks. It's a miracle.